With you, Nicole. It is pretty unusual for an intern, especially one still in high school, to ask a question at a White House briefing. So why did the Daily Caller do this in such a high-profile case?
Well, I don't think that, we didn't know he was necessarily going to get asked a question, get the chance to ask a question. He certainly went prepared to ask a question. And we've sent several interns in the past to briefings, and they've gotten the chance to ask. I know at least 2 other interns have gotten a chance to ask a question at a briefing. And it just didn't make news because they weren't mocked the way that Gabe was mocked yesterday. So
did you have one of your own journalists in that White House briefing in addition to that 16-year-old kid?
Yesterday we did not. Generally, Neil Monroe, our White House correspondent, does go and take 1 or 2 interns with him to the briefing so that they can get a chance to go and experience it. He had a scheduling conflict yesterday, and Gabe was already ready to go and had been cleared in through security 24 hours in advance, and there was no reason not to send them.
So what answer did he want, though? Did he want the president to send a Secret Service agent to protect George Zimmerman? I mean, what answer was he striving to get?
Well, it's certainly not up to Gabe, what the president should do in response to the Zimmerman threats. I think he just wanted to know if he had an opinion and what that opinion was. And actually, the beginning of Jay Carney's answer, which you guys didn't play, I thought was really interesting, which was that he said he wasn't aware of the story. He wasn't aware that the Zimmerman family was getting death threats.
Yes, and he did say that, and I did hear that. So, Jason, I'll ask you this. This intern, he obviously got under Jay Carney's skin, right? Does that give us some sense of what the White House is really feeling, or was Jay Carney just irritated at the question from a kid?
Yeah, I think Jay Carney was responding to an obnoxious frat boy stunt. Let's be honest. There was no point in having 16-year-old ask a provocative and incendiary and unnecessary question. What? He didn't know what situation was necessarily going on with the Zimmerman family. Everyone knows perfectly well that Barack Obama would have no direct responsibility for protecting them, and it was a stunt, and it's something that the Daily Caller should be ashamed of.
So Nicole, I must say, after Gabe asked his question, he actually tweeted this. Just angered Obama's press secretary, word. So was that the intention, to anger the White House?
Of course, that's never the intention, and I don't think I don't think he expected to get the, angry response out of Jay Carney that he got. He went with a reasonable question that no one else has asked. Look, Zimmerman's parents were on another network earlier this week saying they're afraid to go back to their house because they've had hundreds of death threats, and no one's brought that up. And President Obama's been very vocal, not very vocal, but President Obama's been vocal about this case back, almost since it first hit the national scene, and it's a reasonable question to see what he would want to see. And I would say that his age has nothing to do with it. He's 16 years old, yes. He's been doing great work for us all summer long. He was prepared with a question. And, we like to send our interns out to do real things. We don't have our interns making coffee and making copies. We have them going to press conferences and going to events on Capitol Hill and writing stories with their bylines that get published on our website.
But in this situation, this is such a sensitive issue right at this moment for both George Zimmerman and for the black community. So, and Jason, I see you smiling there.
Yeah, I mean, look, it wasn't a sincere question, and you can tell by his reaction it wasn't a sincere question. And this is the second time the Daily Caller has done this year. Please tell me some other instance where the President of the United States is going to take personal responsibility for protecting a family because the public doesn't like a jury ruling. It doesn't make any sense. And if he had a sincere question, then it would have made more sense. But he didn't have one. It was just a stunt in order to bring attention.
It was not a stunt at all.
They should be ashamed for putting a 16-year-old in that particular situation. Would you please stop interrupting me just because I pointed out the fact that you guys did something very inconsiderate with a 16-year-old?
I'm sorry.
So, Jason, are you done? Can Nicole weigh in? Okay, Nicole, go ahead. Take it away.
It was not a stunt. It was not planned, number one. And number two, we didn't know that he was going to get called on. I mean, the Daily Caller often doesn't get called on. Yes, we've been called on in the past, but we certainly didn't know that he would be called on. He obviously was going to go, prepared with a very relevant question. It is a relevant question. President Obama has been very vocal about this. And, it is obviously, a state issue, but it's an issue that's gripped America, and it's interesting to know what the president thinks of it and whether
but
he
thinks you do realize that the president walks a fine line here. He's the president of the United States. He has to be very careful and weigh what he will say if he says anything to the nation. It's not just something that Jay Carney should just whip out an answer to in a press briefing, is it?
No, but that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be asked. I mean, Jay Carney could have said, I don't know. I haven't talked to the president about that. I'll ask him about it. We'll get back to you. I mean, generally, these press conferences don't produce a lot of news. They happen every single day. It's a daily briefing. I don't know when the last time news was made at an actual daily briefing, and so, we asked a question. It's a relevant question. It should have been asked.